Welcome to our December 2023 market update, where we bring you the latest insights into the local housing market. The most recent land registry stats ending August 2023 reveal a significant 30% decrease in property sales across the WR postcode area compared to the previous year, totalling 3,396 transactions. Notably, Droitwich experienced a 28% drop with 403 sales, Worcester was down 29% with 1,507 sales, and Malvern saw a decrease of 31% with 514 sales. Shifting our focus to property prices, over the past 12 months, flats accounted for 14% of sales across the wider area, with an average price of $152,495. Houses averaged $320,661, resulting in an overall average of $288,219. While average prices varied across the county, all areas demonstrated growth. Malvern retained the highest overall average transaction value at $313,737, showing a 3% increase. Droitwich followed closely at £290,081, also up 3%. In Worcester, which accounted for 44.4% of the sales, the overall average price increased by 4% to £256,446. The increase in average sales prices over the past 5 years is noteworthy in the WR postcode area at 23%. Worcester's at 22%, Droitwich at 20%, and Malvern with an impressive 27% over the last 5 years. Turning to rentals, the average rent for homes in the WR postcode area over the past year has increased by 8% to £851. Flats accounted for 37% of the properties let, achieving an average rent of £703, while houses commanded £980 per month. In Droitwich, the average rent was £741, which is 13% lower, with flats averaging £588 and houses at £955. In Malvern, the average rent stood at £877, with flats at £752 and houses at £978 per month. Worcester's figure remained 3% below the average at £826. In a recent Property Academy home moving trends survey, one of the key findings was that people tend to move more often than they expect. While just 23% of homeowners anticipate moving within the next 6 years, the reality is that 1/3 are likely to do so. This trend is even more pronounced among first-time buyers, where 43% expect to stay for 6 years or less, compared to 37% who actually do. Surprisingly, only 28% of respondents ended up staying in their forever home for over 20 years. These findings underscore the importance of staying updated on your property's value and maintaining a connection with your selling agent. In today's dynamic market, unexpected opportunities can arise and swift action may be necessary. Our teams at Nicol Co are renowned for staying in touch and utilising cutting-edge property technology to facilitate quick transactions. Why not invite one of our valuation managers out to visit you before the end of this year? Now let's shift our attention to the national market. According to Rightmove, the average asking price for newly marketed properties decreased by 1.7% this month to $362,143 as sellers continue to adopt a realistic price in the run-up to Christmas. In mortgage news, approvals in September declined to 43,300, marking a 5% decrease compared to the previous month. This figure falls below the long-term average but represents a 9% improvement since the start of the year. HMRC reports that 85,610 property sales took place in September, which is a slight decrease of 0.6% compared to the previous month and significantly down by 17% compared to last year's levels. On a positive note, Halifax recorded a 1.1% uptick in house prices in October, marking the first increase in 6 months. Nationwide also reported a rise of 0.9% in the same month. Shifting our focus to the economy, the Bank of England has once again held base rates at 5.25%, and this rate will persist for at least another 6 weeks. The Office for Budget Responsibility, or OBR as it's known, has downgraded its forecast for economic growth from 1.8% to 0.7% in 2024. Inflation fell sharply to 4.6% in the year to October, marking its lowest rate since November 2021. This decline is primarily attributed to lower energy prices. Announced in the autumn statement, cuts to employee national insurance from 12% to 10% are expected to save the average earner £450 per year. Reductions in national insurance for self-employed individuals have also been announced, affecting approximately 39% of landlords with 5 or more properties. In the lettings market, annual growth in rental prices in the UK reached 6.1% in October, marking its strongest performance since records began. The index of private rented housing prices, which covers both new lets and renewals, reflects this growth. Specifically, the average rent on newly agreed rental contracts rose to £1,283 in October, showing a 9.6% year-on-year increase. Notably, this marks the first time the annual growth rate has dipped below 10% since April. I'm delighted to announce that Nicol Co has been identified as one of the top estate agents in the country. We're proud to be featured in the Best Estate Agents Guide, an independent reference source for sellers and landlords seeking the best sales and lettings agencies in their area. Out of 13,080 assessed estate agents, Nicol Co was not only judged the best sales and lettings agents in the 2 to 5 office category, but we were also crowned the best sales agency nationwide. We appreciate your trust in our expertise. Stay informed, make informed decisions, and thank you for joining us for this December 2023 market update.